The sun bled across the abandoned streets of Meridian as Emma Sullivan stopped in front of a weather-beaten for sale sign. 6 months pregnant and running on fumes. Her car was half empty, her bank account worse, and this town, silent for 65 years, was the only thing she could afford. They said no one had lived here since 1958, but when Emma opened the creaking door of the grand house on the hill, something in the air shifted. Dust swirled through the light like memories refusing to die. On the mantel, she found a bundle of yellowed letters, one addressed to Emma Sullivan, dated decades before she was born. Her fingers trembled as she held the envelope. "That's impossible," she whispered. Outside, the realtor's words echoed in her head, "Lady, you're buying trouble." But Emma had already lost everything, her husband, her home, her future. Trouble was nothing new. As night fell over the ghost town, she told herself this would be her fresh start. What she didn't know was that Meridian had been waiting for her, and it remembered her name. The first night was heavy with silence. She set up camp in the dusty living room, her unborn child kicking as if sensing the strangeness around them. When she finally began to drift to sleep, a flicker of light blinked in the distance, a flash from the abandoned assay office. Too deliberate to be random, she called out, instantly regretting it. Only wind answered, but something about the darkness felt alive, watchful. The next morning, the world seemed normal again, until she found a doctor's bag on her coffee table that hadn't been there before. Dr. H. Walker, Meridian. Inside were old medical tools and patient logs from 1958. The last entry chilled her. Patient Elizabeth Sullivan. Pregnancy progressing normally. 24 weeks. Emma's exact stage. The same last name. The same town. The same condition. She told herself it was coincidence, but the walls whispered otherwise. Every creak sounded like a breath. Every shadow leaned closer, as if waiting for her to understand that she hadn't just found this town. She'd been called here. Days later, an old truck rumbled into town. A man named Roy climbed out, offering supplies and a wary smile. "You're the lady who bought this place, huh?" Meridian's got stories. As they unloaded water and food, he told her the local legend, a mining company that found something in the mountain back in '58. People got sick, headaches, nosebleeds, miscarriages, and then one night, they all vanished. No packing, no warning, just gone. Emma felt the baby kick harder. That night, she opened the letter that had waited for her on day one. The handwriting was rushed but graceful. "My dearest Emma Sullivan, if you are reading this, the child you carry has brought you home. The mine yielded something extraordinary and terrible. They will come for us all. I've hidden the truth where only someone who shares my blood will find it. Trust no one from the government. They've been watching for decades, waiting for you." It was signed Elizabeth Sullivan. Emma stared at the name for a long time. Not her name, but close enough to make her blood run cold. In the days that followed, the town began revealing itself like a patient ghost. At the general store, Emma found a ledger full of notes about headaches, miscarriages, and strange lights near Section C. An old man named Harold Winters appeared one morning, saying he remembered Meridian before the evacuation. Elizabeth was the school teacher, he told her. Smart woman. Got too close to the truth? He led Emma to the abandoned doctor's office at the edge of town, the office of Dr. Harold Walker, Elizabeth's father. Inside, dust-coated files of expectant mothers, most ending in tragedy. Chemical exposure, contamination, radiation. But Elizabeth's file was different. Pages filled with graphs, water samples, and desperate notes. Mercury detected. Elevated lead levels. Government men coming tomorrow. Emma clutched the records, realizing this wasn't just a ghost story. It was a crime scene sealed in silence. But the deeper she read, the sicker she felt, literally. The air in Meridian wasn't dead. It was poisoned, and she was breathing it. A week later, an old rotary phone, one Roy had rigged to a still live line, rang in the middle of the night. Emma froze. She hadn't given anyone the number. "Hello," she whispered. Static answered, then a faint voice. "Elizabeth." Emma's heart stuttered. "Who is this?" The reply was faint, broken, but unmistakably female. "Find the hidden room, behind the bookcase. They're still watching the mine." The line went dead. She ripped the cord from the wall, but the phone kept ringing. The next morning she followed the clues. On the second floor, behind a shelf of old medical books, she found a hidden door. The air inside was warm, preserved, untouched by dust. Files, photos, a journal in handwriting identical to her own. The words inside shattered her understanding of reality. Chromium X, a substance found in Section C, a mineral or something alive that warped time itself. It linked minds, bent memory, and fused timelines. And somehow it had connected Elizabeth to her. Emma wasn't just uncovering the past, she was becoming it. By the time government SUVs rolled up the dirt road, Emma had already pieced it together. Operation Blackout, the official cover-up that erased Meridian and everyone in it. The company had discovered Chromium X, a living material that blurred the line between past and present. When exposed to it, Elizabeth's consciousness, her very being, had been displaced forward through time, into her own unborn child. Into Emma. That's why the letters knew her name, why she'd dreamed of this town her entire life. She was Elizabeth Sullivan, the same woman, reborn through the loop the government had accidentally created. As agents pounded on the front door, demanding entry, a tape recorder clicked on by itself. Elizabeth's voice filled the house. "You think this power belongs to you. It doesn't. It belongs to time itself. And time remembers." The men froze, as the voice declared the evidence had already been copied and released. When the lights flickered and the phone rang again without a line, the agents fled into the storm. But Emma knew they'd return. That night labor began early. Rain hammered the windows. The power died. Alone in the dark, Emma fought through waves of pain until a glow filled the doorway. A woman stepped through the light, her form translucent but unmistakable. Elizabeth, her own face, her own eyes, her own voice whispering words of comfort. Emma wasn't alone. Together they brought the child into the world, time folding in on itself as mother and daughter became one. When the baby's cry finally filled the house, the storm broke. Morning sunlight poured through the windows, and Elizabeth's ghost faded, her purpose fulfilled. Emma looked down at her newborn daughter, small, perfect, impossibly aware, and named her Ellie. In her eyes, Emma saw something that made her breath catch, recognition. The loop wasn't broken yet, but maybe finally it could be. 6 months later, the world knew the truth. The evidence Elizabeth and Emma preserved ignited national hearings. Western Consolidated was exposed, the government forced to admit to Operation Blackout. Meridian was reborn, not as a ghost town, but as a monument to truth. The Grand House became the Meridian Foundation, dedicated to uncovering hidden histories. Emma stood on Main Street, holding Ellie beneath a sky that finally felt alive. The past had bled into the present, and for the first time the cycle had ended. As she looked toward the restored schoolhouse, sunlight caught the upstairs window, just long enough for her to see a faint reflection smiling back. Elizabeth watching proud. Emma whispered, "We did it." And to the listeners who had walked this journey with her, she spoke softly, her voice steady and full of life. If you believe some stories should never stay buried, hit that like button. Share this story and subscribe. Because somewhere out there another town is waiting. And its ghosts remember their names too.